Hello everyone, welcome to this video on how to approach Super 50 series. Super 50 is a program started by graceias which will focus on giving the students topic-wise presentation of various topics which have high probability to come in the mains exam. Now we will be focusing on multiple things here, but first let's talk about what is this game of UPSC. Every year about 10 lakh students or even more attempt this exam, and less than 1000 I would say clear this exam. So what is UPSC looking for? What does an aspirant needs to focus on to clear this exam? The debate generally is between content and answer writing. Content is very important and so is answer writing. Obviously the answer you might be able to guess is that you have to focus on both the things, content as well as answer writing. But there's a trick. If you are giving mains this year or in any year, if you have cleared the prelims, or even if you are a serious aspirant, there's a considerable chance, there's a very good chance that you already have sufficient content and now you should focus upon the answer writing part. In this series of Super 50, we will be focusing primarily in the first part on the answer writing part, and in the second part we will be giving some content, some basic understanding. So essentially we have divided this series into two parts. Part 1 is mark fetcher, where we will give you some points which if you add in your answer will help you fetch some marks. More marks than you would get without these mark fetcher points, and it will help you in increasing your marks with your own knowledge, with your own limited knowledge, whatever you have. So how do you cook your answer? As you might already know, any answer in the UPSC mains is divided into three parts. The first is the introduction, second is the body, and the third is the conclusion. So you need to work on all these three parts. Let's start with introduction. One of the best way to write an introduction is by writing in context. What is context? Context is when you write, why is this question relevant? Why is this topic relevant? Has there been any recent development which made this question very important this year? For example, if a question comes on BIMSTEC is a regional grouping and it might be comparing BIMSTEC and SAARC, you can write the context that Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is the present External Affairs Minister of India, he said that we would aim to enhance the regional cooperation under BIMSTEC grouping. So we would aim at enhancing the regional cooperation under BIMSTEC grouping because there have been certain problems under SAARC. So you can write this context. You can write this statement as your introduction. But there's a problem. In many questions you do not know the context, and if you spend too much time in thinking about how you are going to start your answer, it will take a lot of time and it will impact the rest of your answer, your body and your conclusion. So one very good way of writing an introduction is through datas. Data, they help to tell the examiner that you know some specifics about the question, about this topic. For example, if a question comes on health, you can write in the introduction that health related SDG ranking of India. Health related SDG ranking of India is 143 out of 188. Now this is very general data which could be added, which could be used as an introduction in any question which comes on the health. So this is a very easy to memorize data and it could be reproduced in your answer. So in this series of Super 50, we would be giving you multiple datas. One other data is if a question comes on disaster, and there's a very high probability that at least one question would come on disaster. You could start your answer by writing that 85% of India is prone to single or multiple disasters. Essentially, what you are doing in your introduction part is you are telling that this question, this topic is very relevant, and you are telling the acuteness of the problem. The third way, and it is also a very important way of writing an introduction, is through definitions. We can call this a is method as well. So for example, a question comes on citizen charter. Whatever the question is, that what are the problems in citizen charter, how successful has been citizen charter, you can start your answer by writing the first words as citizen charter and the second word as is. So you write the definition, citizen charter is. You can write that citizen charter is a document which promises to citizen timely and quality delivery of service through designated authority. So essentially by giving this definition, you are telling the examiner that you know what is citizen charter in exact words. You have the gist of what is citizen charter, and this By this method, your introduction part, which is a major challenge for most of the aspirants, is over. So in this series, we would be giving topic-wise some datas and topic-wise some definitions, so that your introduction part is done. Now we will move on to body. One important thing in body is to use diagrams. Almost every topper would tell you, almost every teacher would tell you that you need to add diagrams in your answer. But the problem which most of the aspirants face is that they think that they will not be able to make diagrams. They do not practice the diagrams, and they think that we don't know any diagrams to make in the examination hall. So in this series, in this Super 50 series, we would be giving you diagrams per topic, which are very easy diagrams. You don't need to be a very good painter or to make these diagrams. Very simple diagrams and very informative diagrams which could be used in most of the questions which come on that relevant topic. The second thing is structure. As I told you, most of the students who are serious, they have a lot of content. For example, if a question comes on education, what are the problems of Indian education system? What are the steps that India is taking to solve the problems of Indian education system? So you always have a lot of knowledge to write 2 to 3 pages in this question. But the thing is, the person who organizes this answer in some subheadings, in some structure, will get more marks. So one good example of writing this education topic, education question, is to divide your answer in primary, secondary and tertiary education. So if the question is asked that what are the problems that Indian education system is facing, you can tell the problems that primary education system is facing, the problems that secondary education system is facing, and the problems that tertiary education system is facing. So in this series, we will be telling you some such structures. One another and very good way of writing the education question is to divide your answer into 4 E's. One E is expansion, the second is equity, expansion, equity, excellence and employability. If you divide your answer, your education answer in these 4 parts, whatever the question is asked, then you are essentially telling the copy checker that you have covered this topic in a much more exhaustive way, much more comprehensive way. So you need to have templates and structures ready with you. The third thing, and I think this is the most important thing in your answers, is you need to use keywords of question in the answer. One of the major problems that most of the students face in examination hall is that when in a question 2 to 3 questions are asked, they tend to focus on just one part of the question and forget about the some part of the question. So examiner will automatically cut your marks because you have not covered some part of the question. So one good way of telling the examiner that you have covered all parts of the question is to use the keywords of the question. I'll give an example. Suppose a question comes, what are the reasons for high poverty in India? And what steps is the government taking to allay this problem of poverty? You have to write the heading, reasons for high poverty in India. You need to underline it, double underline it, or even make a box around it so that the examiner knows that you have covered this part. So you need to use the keywords of the question in your answer. Now we will move on to the conclusion part. As I told in the introduction part, our approach is more of problem oriented. We tell the problem is very acute. In the conclusion part, we are generally very optimistic. We give the conclusion in a much more solution oriented way. So one good way of writing a solution is through government schemes or government committees. For example, a question is asked on water. You could write your answer by giving the name of Mihir Shah Committee. Mihir Shah Committee was made on the water problems. You could also add some of the features of the Mihir Shah Committee. There is one topic which is self-help group, that is the SHG. In the conclusion, you can write about the SK Kalia Committee. And even if you don't know the features of the committee, you can just write the name of the committee, and that will also tell the examiner that you are one step ahead than the other aspirants, than the other people who are giving this exam. So you can also use some good examples, and as I told, some features of the government schemes. For example, in disaster question, you could write the features of the National Disaster Management Plan 2016. So it will make a very good solution-oriented conclusion. Now, what should you expect from these videos? As I told, these mark feature points, which will help you get more marks, these would be given in this series on a topic-wise basis. And value addition point per subject. For example, every subject requires some value addition. If a question is asked on polity, you have to write some points on the judgments, some name of the judgments. For example, the Kyoto Holohan case, it was on the 10th schedule. The Nafte Johar case, if a question is asked on section 377, you have to use this name, the name of the judgment, Nafte Johar case. Then we would also be giving some structures and templates as I told. But in addition to this, essentially we are giving you a methodology, we are giving you a mechanism that how to approach a question, how to solve a question. We would also be giving you solved previous year UPSC question in which the same methodology has been used. So you would know that how to use this mechanism, how to use these data, these diagrams and these conclusions in your answer. In addition to that, we would also be sharing some topper copies, people who have already scored good rank in the exam. We would be showing you some copies of these toppers, and you will yourself get to know that how these toppers have also used a similar methodology, similar mechanism to write an answer. Obviously, we would be focusing on the content part in the part 2, that is the basic understanding part, and in this way, if you look in all the topics which are covered in Super 50 series, then you could be rest assured that almost everything on that topic is covered, and it is made sure that it is made according to the UPSC demand, so that you get maximum marks from your own content, and if you need some more content, that will also be provided to you. Thank you.